Hi guys, I'm Darren, and in this video we're going to be setting up an S8R or S6R using ETHOS. So you may be wondering why I'm setting up this receiver, because it's an older receiver and there are more modern Archer stabilized receivers out there. Simple fact is I have this receiver and I don't have one of the others yet. I will be getting one, but when I do, I'll make a video for those. But the fact is, people are using these receivers and will want to set them up with ETHOS. So why not show how to do it? Now, before I go into this, there are a couple of little caveats. These receivers come with two modes. There's a quick mode, which is just pure stabilization. So you have options of manual, which is like pass through, so no stabilization, stabilized, and automatic leveling. That is the mode that is default when you flash the firmware, so that's the mode I'm going to be covering. There is another mode which is more advanced, which adds another switch, which adds automatic hover and knife edge capabilities, but I'm not going to be covering that. I'm just going to be covering the standard stabilization aspect of this receiver. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward and it's really nice on ETHOS. So let's go and take a look. Right, so first of all, I thought I'd show you my setup just so you know that there's nothing crazy going on, and actually it's going to be very similar to what you have in your plane. So let's start this end. I have a 2200 FrSky, probably one of the most common line of sight batteries for, you know, average foamies, that sort of thing. So that's just connected to a simple on-off switch. It's nothing special about that, it's just literally a switch. That's going into a 5-volt BEC, which is then going into the S8R. I've got it on channel 8 just because it's a free channel. These are just outputs which go to servos on my little plane. So yeah, really simple setup, and I've got it set for AETR, so the wording on the outside of the receiver is the order I have these wired up in. So we have the left aileron, elevator, there's a gap where the throttle should be, rudder, and then the right hand elevator is in channel 5. That's it, nice and simple. Let's see what's going on with ETHOS. So I'll stick this here so we can see everything that's going on, and I'll have the plane here, and of course the receiver I'll have in my hand because I'll be moving it about to show the stabilization, because we won't be moving the plane, it doesn't have a stabilizer on it. Right, anyway, let's switch it on.
Welcome to ETHOS. Switch warning.
And we're just going to start. This is the demo plane that I used in an earlier example for just setting up and binding the receiver. So we've already bound. If you want to know how to do that, I'll put a link up in the corner to the video for binding. And of course, if you enjoy this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and click the bell icon, because it will help more people find this video so they can learn how to do this too. But anyway, let's crack on. So the first thing that we actually need to do is add a couple of channels. So we're going to go in the mixer and we're going to add a mix. Now I'm just going to choose a free mix, and we're going to put this at the very end, and let's edit that mix. So this is going to be our gain. So this is always going to be active, and we're going to stick this on a pot. So I'm going to use S1. So just turn S1 and it will select it for you. So now we've selected our pot, you can see if I move the dial, it's going from 100 to -100. Now the problem is the gain pot, or the gain input on the S8R or S6R, needs to be from 0 to 100. It doesn't actually care about below. So this whole part here will do absolutely nothing with the current setup. So what I'm going to do is add a curve. So we click on add curve, we can give it a name, so let's again call it gain. And the type is just going to be a custom curve. We only need 2 points. and the first point is going to be, we want 2 points. The first point is going to be at 0, the second point is going to be at 100. So now we can exit back out of the curve, and now if we move the pot, we see we go from 0 to 100. So we have more resolution, and we have full use of the pot for setting our gain. So I'll just leave that in the middle for now. So that's the first channel added, but what we need to do, of course, is assign it to an output. So this needs to go on channel 9. So we don't have a name for it yet, so yeah, let's share it, and then channel 9 will be called gain 2. So we can come out of here now. So the next thing we're going to do is add another free mix. So this one, again, we can put after gain, and let's edit that. So this again is going to be always on, and this is going to be our stabilization type switch. So I'm going to stick it on this switch right here, because that's where I'm used to having a mode on switch on flight controllers, so it will work nicely. Of course, you can choose whatever switch you want, and that is fine. We just need it working as is, -100, 0, +100. So all we need to do is we'll name this one stabilization, and then we'll assign it to our output channel. So this one needs to go on channel 10, and again we'll just give it the same name. So we now have our gain, our stabilization mode, and now we need one more channel which we're going to use as it's like an O-crap switch, but you can also use it for a quick setup. So that one, again, let's add one more, another free mix, put it at the end, and then you can call this what you want. I'm going to call it oh crap. So again, we need to assign this to a switch. So source, I'm just going to use this one here, SG. So when that is in the towards you position, -100, it will automatically level the plane. And I believe we can switch it quickly so many times to do the self-check. So what we're going to do now is add that to channel 12. And that's it done. You can see our old crap switch is working. So there are a couple of things that we can add so that when we first turn the radio on, the switches are in the correct position. But we'll do that in a sec once we tested the switches, made sure we're happy with the way they work, and all that good stuff. So what we're going to do now is we'll exit out of here, and I will make sure the oh crap is off. So I'm going to put that all the way to the back. I'm going to put that all the way down, which I believe is manual mode, and then I'm going to turn on the receiver. So if I put this here, you can see at the moment there should be no stabilization, which is great. 2 working ailerons, we have an elevator, and we have a rudder, and at the moment no stabilization. So I'm going to put it back to manual, because what we should really do before any of this is set the thing up. So to do that, we need to stay inside our model area, and we're going to swipe across to the next page and go to device config. Now what I'll do is I'm going to move this over slightly, and I'll move the plane out of the way so that we can just focus on our receiver here. Now the first thing that we're going to do is, here we have SxR calibration. So we're going to click into that, and you can see already it's really nicely laid out. We have a pretty clear image of what we're supposed to be doing and decent instructions as well. So let's move the dial onto the button, and you can see it's asking us to have the receiver flat on the top on the desk with the where the FrSky logo is, that is the label. So we just click on that and just wait for it to finish. Okay, so that's the first one finished. Now it's saying put the label on the desk, so the arrow here is pointing down. So just flip it over, click the button, and again, just wait for it to finish. Now this is all really straightforward. There are a couple of trickier steps, and it's because of antennas and pins. And we can see the first one now. So this is asking us to put it with the receiver vertical with the pins facing up. So of course, if we do that, we're going to squash our antennas on the desk. So I use like a box, or this switch is really handy. I just stand it on the switch. Antennas are free and not getting damaged. Let's click and let's wait. Now it's the opposite. So we want to put our receiver like this, which is easy enough if you haven't got any S-bus inputs or outputs on it. Also S-bus or RSSI, because you can balance it on that edge. Just click that and go for it. Now we're back to easy ones. So the first one, you want the text on the label so that you can read it. So it goes that way up. Click. And the final one, we want the text upside down. So just turn it over and calibrate. So that's it. We've got a green tick. Everything is calibrated. We can click the button, which brings us nicely back to our device config screen. Because the next thing we want is this SxR device config. So we click enter on there, and what we're presented is the information for the SxR itself. So this used to be on 2 pages on the old Lua scripts on OpenTX, but to be honest, the first page was really just this part here with a diagram. So the first thing that you need to do is select what type of plane it's going in. So we have, it's mislabeled the first one. It says wing with rudder, elevon and aileron. Obviously it should be plane, not wing. But yeah, so basically a standard plane is the top option. The second option is a plane with a delta wing or a flying wing, basically an elevon setup. And the third one is a plane with a V-tail. So this is going in a standard plane, and it will be when it goes in my S-back. So the next thing to do is select the mounting type. Now there are 2 main mounting types. There's level, which is like this, and upright, which is like this. There's also reversed, which I'm actually going to check out in a second just to make sure what they do so I don't give you bad information. Okay, so I'm coming back now from after finishing recording the rest of this video. Everything's been set up on the receiver, so all our stabilisation is working the correct way. So now what we're going to do is take a look at the different mounting types to see what they actually do. So if I put it in a self-level mode with the standard level mounting type, if I raise the nose, you'll see it pushing the elevator down to try and push the nose down, which is correct. Right, so now what we're going to do is go to level reversed. Now what that is actually upside down rather than reversed. So with the receiver mounted upside down in an aircraft, if we nose up, it's going to try and push the nose down. If we nose down, it's going to try and push the nose up. If we roll to the left, it's going to try and roll right. And if we roll to the right, it's going to try and roll left. So reversed is actually upside down. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put it like this. And what we should find is that is the upright position. So if I bring the nose up, you can see it trying to push the nose down. Nose down, it tries to bring it up. Roll to the right, it tries to roll back to the left. Roll to the left, it tries to roll back to the right. So upright reversed is actually this way round. So the pins are always towards the back of the aircraft. It's just which way round it sits. So if I nose up, it tries to push the nose down. If I nose down, it tries to push the nose up. If I roll to the left, it tries to roll right. And if it rolls to the right, it tries to roll left. So I'll put that back in manual, and then I'll do a brief overview of the modes or the layouts. So we have level, which is like this. Level reversed is actually level upside down. Upright is with the label to the left, and upright reversed is with the label to the right. So I hope that clears this up for you guys. So let's carry on with the rest of the tutorial. But anyway, what we need to do first is do a self check. Now, the switch that we put our old crap on, we need to flick this. It's about 8 to 12 times. It seems to be a random number, but I'm going to flick it and put it back down. And then what it will do is it will move the surfaces about, but that will define the level point for the receiver. There we go. So I did it 8 times to the middle and then back down the bottom. So now the receiver knows where level is. We'll choose our level mounting type. And what I'm going to do is do a high five test just to make sure that our controls are correct in manual, which is this all the way down. So moving to the right, this is up, this is down, that's correct. That's up for elevator. That's right, that's left. So we're all good. So now what I'm going to do is put it into self-leveling mode. And why we're doing this is to check the stabilization. So of course, if this is in your plane, it will be easier and you probably have more obvious control surfaces. So what we want to happen is for when we roll to the left, we want the right hand side to come up and the left hand side to go down. That's all working perfectly. If it wasn't, you can reverse them here. But that's fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pitch up. So what we want to happen is the elevator to go down. So if I pitch up, you can see the elevator's gone down. By the way, I've turned the gain all the way up for this, just so that it's easier to see. And the hardest one is the rudder, because what we want to do is when the nose points to the right, we want the rudder to point to the left. So basically the rudder is going to move the same way the tail moves. So if we do that, nose to the right, you can see the rudder is going to the left to counter it. So all our stabilization is actually the right way around. If it wasn't, like I say, you can adjust it here by reversing each surface individually. Now you can enable the auxiliaries if you want. I've got mine turned off because all I'm using is the 5 channels. I don't have anything else. Now the quick mode here is what's on the standard. That's what the system we've set up. But if you wanted to go for the advanced thing with the knife edge and all that, you'd need to set up a channel 11 the same way we set up channel 10, and you'd need to turn this off, and that will give you access to the hover mode and the knife edge mode. We have basic stabilization and auto level gains here. I'll turn that stabilization off. And also you have gains for the hover and knife edge that you can adjust. So that is basically how we set this up. But there are a couple of things that we should just finally do to make sure that we don't start in a different mode that we don't want. So what we're going to do is come back out and we're going to go into checklist. Now what we want to do is make sure that we're in manual and that this switch here is not in the old crap position, because if I come back over that way and put it in oh crap, it will just level the receiver. So that will just keep it level the whole time. So we only want that for emergencies. So, you know, you could actually put that on the momentary switch. Once you've set your gain, you could actually set your pot up so that it equals the current position. So if we had our gain to here, you could set it up so that it's at that position. At the moment, I don't know the gain, so I'm going to turn the checking off. And we also have a switch check here. So we want A in the down position. These switches here, it doesn't matter. We want our arming switch in the disarm position, and we want the oh crap switch in the standard not being used position. So what we can do is click load all switch positions, and that will fill out the positions for us. So you notice that my arm switch is now disarmed. We're in manual, which is switch A, and switch G is up. So that is basically all that we need to know to get this flying. We can actually add some feedback so that we know what flight mode we're in. So if we go in special functions, we'll add one, and our action, we want play track. Enable always active condition. We'll put it in our manual switch position, and then we can add a sound file. Now you'll need obviously a sound pack to be able to put these in. So we'd obviously repeat these for however many switch positions we have, but
Manual.
if we now go into manual, we have feedback. We'd want one there for stabilised, there for auto level. And that is basically all you need to know to get this flying. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button and that bell icon, because that will help get this video out to more people so they can also learn how to set up this SxR. Right now, I'm going to get this receiver in my S-back so I can actually get out and fly it. Fly your models like you stole them. Don't do the auto knife edge thing. Knife edge it yourself. It's more fun. See you later. Bye bye.